Charli XCX has dropped Spring Summer 2026, the second single of her upcoming record, and in contrast to the abrasive and controversial rock music, this track is a soft rock track that eschews rough, chaotic declarations for raw observations with a delicate delivery. Some of you guys did actually really like my rock music analysis, and I've come back to discuss this track. I'm gonna try to make sense of it and the visuals while discussing how it speaks with that previous single, so this one's gonna be a little less structured and more of a ramble, just a quick warning. Spring Summer 2026 is an alt-rock ballad that doesn't waste any time. The chorus just comes in immediately. It is a snapshot of this current moment. When the world is going to end, there's no hope for any of it. We're walking on a runway that goes directly to hell. Nothing's going to save us, not music, not fashion, or film. The alignment of the fashion show naming conventions feels pointed. These shows are meant to announce or denote what the zeitgeist is going to be commercially, per the minds of established brands. So it's kind of a dig at how people assume that Charli thinks herself as a tastemaker. Verse 1 immediately just goes to talk about cigarettes, but the act of putting them out, she can't believe what she's done before, she doesn't do it anymore, but then she denies doing these things only to say that even if she did, it's not her fault because she wasn't there. These lines read confusing and contradictory, but they seem to be about the perceptions of accountability and how celebrity often contradicts morality itself. In the context of the video, this verse is sung while she's getting ready to walk the show, and each of these models is a version of her to showcase how many different looks that she has to put on to keep up with the show, ergo the industry and the game. The pre-chorus extends that idea with the jaded cynicism to it. Politics could be her press strategy, calling into mind how she tweeted Kamala as brat, only for brat to become co-opted by Kamala Harris herself. She mentions her heritage as a half-Indian artist being a unique selling point or a USP in business speak. She wants to take the easy road, but then pivots to being okay as long as she looks good in the clothes. Verse 2 is a further deconstruction of verse 1's narrative, talking about being hacked, then being taken out of context, and she plays with the idea of not doing it, but even if she did, she's prepared with a Notes app apology. I'm not sure if the song was written pre-Dance Floor Gate or post, but it's cognizant about how absurd it is and how performative it is to try to fit into everyone's definition of being accountable. I found it really nuanced, and the purposeful use of showing her tripping over and this version of her that's fallen over causing the chaos while these other Charlies ignore her and continue walking towards the consuming void, I think it sums up the atmosphere of the song. The little synth outro of the song is actually my favorite part. It almost feels like a segue to a missing section of the song, or perhaps another track on the upcoming record, which I think might be the case because the video fades to white at the end like a scene transition. One of the first things I noticed is how reminiscent the video and its concept and even the song is to Madonna's American Life, which in itself pokes fun at those same ideas, and it's kind of ironic considering the recent criticism the Queen of Pop had for Charli regarding the dance floor being dead. Even in the video for American Life, there is an element where there is a farce that happens at a fashion show, and it feels like a homage. Charli kind of mixing folk and electronica here just feels like an unexpected development and is kind of much further than what I imagined this record was going to become. I really found the chorus to be verbose, where it balances these heavy ideas with an airy vocal performance, which kind of feels novel for Charli. She's always had this unique register that's worked very well with autotune, but as someone who followed her earlier career, I was kind of saddened by the growing reliance on it due to vocal damage. This project has kind of been an effort to remove that armor or veneer that she's made from sounding overprocessed. On a musical level, this is a song that keeps you on the edge, but never quite explodes to a degree where I think it kind of suffers from some issues I had with rock music, but I do think that it's more standalone without the visuals. I only really started to love rock music once I saw the video, but with Spring Summer 2026, I first listened to it without the music video. Getting some of my other criticisms out of the way, I did want a little more runtime for it to feel a little bit more substantive, but the commitment to soft rock sounds is really fascinating to me. The cynicism of the lyrics out of context without being sung felt cringe on the Substack post, but Charli's really done it here. I think that it's her delivery and sincerity with the vocal performance that makes the song work. There's a very mournful, resigned quality to the song that speaks to this pervading sense of dread that I think anyone, regardless of their beliefs or status, does feel for the future. Production-wise, AG, Finn, and Charli, they really set up this yearning quality to it. It's like begging to shake things up, which ironically interplays with the lyrics. Charli and AG have always sewn the actual text of the song into how they make music. So this resigned, repetitive, and restrained sound that's brimming to explode but doesn't quite actually does make sense. The anticlimax is intentionally frustrating. In dialogue with rock music, I think these two tracks uncover two sides of an emotional equation that she's setting up. Rock music now reads to me as an act of being brash and defiant and trying to trudge through this overwhelming sadness. It almost feels like someone's in denial, trying to turn the page on a chapter in their life, using ideation and novelty as tools to kind of shirk off deep-seated fear. Spring-Summer 2026 feels like the crushing acceptance of the circumstances. It's the other side of the coin. It's the despair of falling into a nihilistic spiral and letting those feelings consume you. I'm starting to see this project less of an anti-brat, like I said in my last video, and more akin to the font change metaphor, except not just genre-wise but thematically. The sonic elements feel an ocean apart, but the conceit of rebellion through deconstruction and irony is still here. Brat was exposed and raw, yet it had this thumping backbone of confidence in her own greatness and untapped potential, whereas this project kind of just leaves behind all of that confidence in a malaise of insecurity and emotion. So far, it feels shapeless and imposing because of that, because we can't box it yet, but eventually we will in retrospect. And right now, the novelty is trying to figure out what conversation she's trying to start here. One song I do want to contrast this with is Everything is Romantic from Brat. I think the swing from detailing such a crystallized moment of joy, the vivid descriptions of her travels and snapshotting tangible pleasures, contrasted with this vague, opaque dourness. I don't think it's an intentional parallel, but it's cool seeing her shift her lens of the writing and the techniques around to the opposite side. On a cultural level, most fascinating to me is that the song almost feels like a rejection of a speculated return to millennial recession optimistic pop songs that the culture seems to be pervading. Some believe that we're going to swing really hard back into that direction from the late 2000s, early 2010s sound. Those songs treated a potential apocalypse as an opportunity to overcome or party or even find true love, and this song is pretty much, no, we're doomed, but we're hot. But also film, fashion, and music, that can't save us. Consumption itself is just a temporary salve. And that harsh conclusion definitely will earn some detractors, but I really like the delivery here. It's too sincere to just say that it's Charli being a surface-level contrarian. I also really admire that the lyrics are not done with gleeful malice or some wry wink that she thinks otherwise secretly inside. They drip with dread, concern, and a true mournful quality. It's almost like a very candid diary entry and a look into someone unraveling, albeit from a not-so-relatable celebrity viewpoint, and I think part of why that works for me is that it's not some random heel turn for Charli. Charli has never made songs that unironically tried to sell faux positivity or empowerment. I love Change the Rhythm, don't get me wrong, but part of the reason why I think a song like that fell flat in retrospect was that the public just didn't buy that Poptimist Katy Perry, fresh off a project anchored by Roar, that person could give us a sobering view of society imploding. No shade to Katy, but that's just my thoughts as to why I think something this bleak can be sold by someone like Charli. Prior to this track, Charli released a series of tweets which felt like deja vu to me. In them, she lamented the reception to her work, which echoes posts that she was making in 2019 on the eve of her self-titled record. And they were really focused on thoughts of personhood versus artisthood and how those are running themes in her career. She cannot be divorced from the discourse that she generates just putting out her work. This is definitely magnified by the unexpected success of Brat, which has set expectations that she never was interested in meeting in any timeline. Yet still, even with what some consider to be a shitpost jingle, she's still charting. The music is being seen and given a shake by a curious and somewhat sizable audience. And she's aware of that and sensitive about that and not sure what she's going to do beyond putting out what she wants to put out. And it's great that Atlantic actually trusts her to give her a budget, considering their history. Charli has always discussed the creation process as akin to healing for her, and I think this album is going to be an epilogue or a continuation of her recent movie, The Moment's Thesis, both visually and thematically. The dissection of where the artist ends and where the person begins. But ultimately, spring, summer 2026, like long story short, turning point for me as to where this project is going and the why now of it all. It's very clear that whatever project emerges from this is coming very soon, which is remarkable considering Brat was just 2 years ago, even if culturally and emotionally it does feel like a decade ago, at least to me. I genuinely do look forward. I'm seated to see how everything slots together and how this new vision plays out, and I hope you guys are with me on that. And that's a wrap. Let me know below what you think of this single, if it made you change your mind on rock music, if you don't like it or the project at all. Like, I love having this forum for you guys to discuss. A shout out to my subscribers. Love you guys. Shout out to my members. Thank you for taking that extra step and supporting my channel. Plugging in my Substack again, where you can get written versions of my reviews and thoughts and extras. I swear I'm going to start posting more on it. I swear, guys, and I hope to see you next video.